Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the 2017 Fall Convocation. Oh, what a year this is going to be. Thank you all for joining us this morning for an update on all things Fort Hays State University, getting an opportunity to meet some of our new faculty and staff, as well as celebrate the accomplishments of many of our colleagues. Let me also extend greetings to our faculty at our Chinese partnership universities who are joining us virtually this morning. Ni hao. We enjoy having you here. Sao Sheng Ha. Even though it's evening there, that's all Victoria taught me to say while we were in China. Victoria, I need you back. My language skills are deteriorating. At this time, I would like to ask the Faculty Senate President, Ms. Denise Orth, to come up on stage and provide a welcome from the Faculty Senate. Denise Orth.
Good morning, everyone. I know how convocations normally go, and we like to keep all of our remarks short and sweet and to the point, and so I do promise to keep these remarks as short as I possibly can. As the Faculty Senate President, I really am very excited by the prospects that this new year holds for Fort Hays State University. Throughout the year, there will be changes within the university, and my hope is the changes will bring us together as a stronger Tiger Nation. During the past year, I have been fortunate enough to learn about the role of the Faculty Senate President and the various duties that I will need to complete on behalf of the faculty. And to be very honest with you, I am humbled to be in this role, but I am really very scared of what I'm getting myself into. So I will be relying upon a lot of you to, calm me down as we go. Now, those of you who have served in the Faculty Senate know that senators can be very passionate and serious when deliberating issues concerning educating students or improving conditions for faculty. This year, we will take up issues which will require thoughtful reflection, due diligence, in order to find workable solutions for all. I am confident that Faculty Senate will be ready to take on any and all issues. In closing, I think it is important to remember to not take ourselves too seriously. So please humor me with a little joke. This does require participation. Knock, knock. Otto. I don't know what's taking so long. Thank you very much. Welcome back to campus for the semester, and I look forward to a wonderful 2017.
Thank you, Denise. I, too, am humbled and a little scared, and as such, forgot to even introduce myself since it wasn't explicitly in the script. Obviously, if it's not explicitly in the script, you're not getting it today. But I'm Jeff Briggs, and I'm the interim provost and vice president for academic affairs, and so I will... Yeah, and hold for applause was in the script, so thank you for following the script with that. At this time, I would like to ask Dr. Jeanette Naylor-Tinknell, president of Fort Hays State University AAUP, come to provide a welcome.
I, too, was going to echo the scared but humble thing. So good morning and welcome back. As Provost Briggs says, I am Jeanette Naylor-Tinknell, president of the Fort Hays chapter of the American Association of University Professors. Among other things, AAUP works to protect academic freedom, shared governance, professional standards, and economic security. While Faculty Senate and AAUP address slightly different aspects of academic life, we work closely together to ensure the work that we do is in the best interests of students and faculty. We will continue that tradition this year of shared governance. As a collective bargaining unit, our AAUP chapter was able to achieve several key revisions to the Memorandum of Agreement through negotiations and voting. The language in the process of tenure and promotion and the post-tenure review was adjusted to increased clarity in the candidates' rights and responsibilities. Salary adjustments were also negotiated to include a $1,000 mid-year bonus implemented last fall as a permanent part of every unit member's base salary. Additionally, a 1.5% merit salary pool-based increased base salaries. Overall, this resulted in an average of a 3.2 salary increase for all unit members. Next year, we will continue to work with partners in the Faculty Senate on matters of importance to both faculty and students. The chapter and administration will continue to review the MOA to ensure clear and appropriate policies on matters of terms of employment for members of the bargaining unit. Also, negotiations will continue to focus on salary to address compression, on definitions of workload, and on pathways of tenure for library and faculty. Our chapter works diligently for the principles of academia. If you want to join AAUP or have questions, please feel free to contact any member of the executive team or go to our chapter website at fhsu.aaup.org. Again, thank you so much for all of you do, and we hope that you have a productive, supportive, and fun-filled year. Welcome back.
Thank you, Jeanette. I truly look forward to working with Faculty Senate and AAUP as the year progresses. Finally, Ms. Lisa Lang, President of the University Support Staff, will provide a short welcome. Lisa, please join us.
Thank you, Dr. Briggs. I told the other two they're used to public speaking. This is not in my wheelhouse, but here goes. Good morning. I am Lisa Lang, and I am the Finance and Database Manager for the Alumni Association. I am serving as the University Support Staff, or USS Senate President this year. The code of the USS states, Fort Hays State University is a community with an educational mission. The university community includes students, faculty, administrators, and university support staff. The function, knowledge, skills, and talents of the university support staff constitute a significant resource of the university community. The university community can best fulfill its mission when all members participate in the fullest and most equitable manner possible. The University Support Staff Senate is established to facilitate a more vital participation in the life of the university by its university support staff. Some of you may remember that in June 2014, the change from classified staff to USS took place. Classified staff were recategorized as USS staff members. This change took these positions out of the state classified system and better aligned us with other university employees. At that time, there were approximately 265 USS employees. Beginning in January 2015, any hourly, non-exempt new employee not covered by a labor union hired at FHSU is an unclassified professional staff or a UPS employee. Anytime a USS employee separates from the university, that position is filled by a UPS employee. Also, if a current USS employee takes another position on campus, that position is converted to and filled by as a UPS employee. In addition, any USS employee may voluntarily choose to become a UPS employee. Due to this combination of factors, our group has shrunk to approximately 155 USS employees on campus. That is a decrease of 42% in USS positions. In an effort to better represent the UPS employees who hold positions that were formerly USS, we are beginning to explore the possibility of a joint USS and UPS Senate. We are in the very preliminary stages of this process. Our first step will be to send out an anonymous email survey through the Docking Institute to all USS and UPS employees in the near future. A hard copy of the survey may be requested through the Docking Institute as well. We are gathering information to see if there is interest across campus to form this combined Senate. I would encourage everyone to respond to the survey candidly and with any suggestions or concerns that you may have. We need and value your input. The USS Senate has the opportunity to change, to improve, and to grow this year. Our sincere hope is to make the USS Senate a body that represents the best interests of its constituents, both on campus and across the state. I'd like to close with a quote from William Pollard. "Without change, there is no innovation, creativity, or incentive for improvement. Those who initiate change will have a better opportunity to manage the change that is inevitable." Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. At this time, I would like to introduce new faculty and staff in the academic affairs area. New faculty and staff in the departments are asked to stand and be recognized as I read off the names. Please work. Now we're getting closer. From the Office of Institutional Effectiveness and Quality Improvement, Dr. Sanghi Min, Assistant Vice President. Seems harder than it should be. In the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, from the Department of Art and Design, Ms. Katie Christopher, Senior Administrative Assistant. From the Department of Communication Studies, Ms. Brittany Reed, Instructor. Mike Barnett and Joey Lynn, you better not be snickering. You have to come up and try and do this next. From the Department of English, Mr. David Arroyo, the instructor at CIOS International University. Also from CIOS International University, Miss Emily David, instructor. Mr. Edward Emmerich, an instructor at CIOS International University. Miss Pamela Herzog, an instructor at CIOS International University. Miss Amy Richecki, Senior Administrative Assistant in the Department of English. Dr. Matthew Smalley, Assistant Professor. Miss Alexis Smith, Instructor at CIOS International University. And Dr. Stephen Ware, Assistant Professor at CIOS International University. So a number of new English faculty, as you can see. From the English as a Second Language Office, we have Miss Rachel Hyatt, Instructor. and Miss Deborah Pfeiffer, instructor. From the Department of History, we have Miss Ovita Ford, Senior Administrative Assistant. From the Department of Leadership Studies, we have Mr. Jeff Bourgeois, Instructor, CIOS International University. Also at CIOS International University, Miss Angelique Evans, Instructor. And Dr. Michael Patrick, Assistant Professor at CIOS International University. From the Department of Modern Languages, Dr. Caitlin Brady, Assistant Professor. From the Department of Music and Theater, Mr. Peter Lilpot, Instructor. From the Department of Philosophy, Dr. Nathan Ekstrand, Assistant Professor, CIOS International University. And from the Department of Sociology, Dr. Nicole English, an Assistant Professor. Next, in the Robbins College of Business and Entrepreneurship, we have Miss Sarah Dreyer, Administrative Specialist in the Dean's Office. From the Department of Applied Business Studies, we have Dr. Russell Casey, Associate Professor. From the Department of Economics, Finance, and Accounting, Mr. Alan Dinas is the Director of the Robbins Banking Institute. Dr. Tom Johansson, Professor. Dr. Hung Nguyen, Assistant Professor at Shenyang Normal University. And Mr. Kwando Afori Mensah, an Instructor. From the Department of Informatics, Dr. Nicholas Caparuso, an Assistant Professor. Mr. Russell Heitman, Tiger Media Network News and Sports Director. Dr. Ginger Miller Loggins, Assistant Professor. And Dr. James Smith, Assistant Professor. In the Department of Management, Ms. Sonia Aguilar, an instructor at CIOS International University. And Mr. Robert Lloyd, instructor. From the Management Development Center, we have Ms. Hannah Hilker, a Senior Administrative Assistant. From the Small Business Development Center, Ms. Mariel Ramirez, Small Business Consultant. And Ms. Sue Ann Rundle, a Program Specialist. From the College of Education, we have Ms. Maureen Mindrip, Administrative Specialist in the Dean's Office. And Ms. Alyssa Chappell, Senior Administrative Assistant, Field Experiences and Licensure Offices. In the Department of Advanced Education Programs, Ms. Carrie Tholstrup, iStation Project Manager. In the Department of Teacher Education, Ms. Rebecca Newell, In-Place Education Coordinator. And Ms. Dina Czar, Instructor. From the College of Health and Behavioral Sciences in the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders, Mr. Blake Roth, instructor. In the Department of Nursing, Ms. Patricia Dries, assistant professor. Ms. Shauna Kyle, assistant professor. Ms. Bonnie Langreff, assistant professor. Ms. Amy Schmidt, senior administrative assistant. Ms. Jamie Schneider, assistant professor. And Ms. Michelle Vanderweg, assistant professor. In the Department of Psychology, we have Ms. Catherine Irk, instructor. And Ms. Misty Kuntz, senior administrative assistant. In the Department of Social Work, we have Ms. Sky Westerland, assistant professor. From the Worth College of Science, Technology, and Mathematics, Department of Agriculture, we have Dr. Clyde Cranwell, chair and associate professor. Also, in the Department of Biological Sciences, Dr. Madhavi Ambardar, instructor. Ms. Elizabeth Atwater, senior administrative assistant. And Dr. Wendy Martin, instructor. In the Department of Chemistry, we have Dr. Bruce Atwater, assistant professor. Dr. Alan Zito, assistant professor. In the Department of Geosciences, Mr. Jared Brantley, administrative assistant. Also in Geosciences and working with CAMS, Jean Sumrall, Dr. Jean Sumrall. And Dr. Jonathan Sumrall, assistant professor. In the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, Dr. Thomas Dunn, assistant professor. From the Sternberg Museum, Ms. Christina Bird, museum program specialist. From Forsyth Library, Miss Elizabeth Chance, librarian. And Miss Cindy Landis, library specialist, outreach services. From the Graduate School, Miss Brianna Kroger, administrative specialist. And from the Honors College, Miss Jensen Shaley, administrative specialist. From University Relations and Marketing, Miss Kelsey Strammel, digital marketing assistant director. And Mr. Terry Vickroy, video production specialist. And in my script it says, have I missed anyone? And I know I just signed approval yesterday. We have Miss Kelsey Billinger in the Department of Health and Human Performance, who will be an instructor. At this time, I'd ask Mr. Mike Barnett, Vice President for Administration and Finance, to please come forward and introduce staff in his area.
Good morning. Oh, you're doing it for me? Oh, wonderful. Technology guy took over in the back, so I don't have to go through this. I did want to make one comment to everybody. Some of you are probably wondering if I did own a suit. I do own a suit, so, okay. I have a number of people to introduce. We'll practice the same as in the past. If you're here in attendance, please stand up when I announce your name. Mark Griffin, Assistant Vice President and CIO, Information Technology Services. Rob Manry, Director of Budgets and Planning. Rob, there you are. From Athletics, Allison Daly, Assistant Coach Softball. Miss Brandy Fairbank, Assistant Coach Volleyball. Miss Carly Lindsay, Assistant Athletic Trainer and Instructor at HHP. And same with Mark. This is a promotion. Jason McCullough is not new, but he is now the head coach of track and cross country. Ben Santos, Assistant Coach, track and cross country. From Custodial Services, Ricky Delton, Custodian McMidas Hall. Ashley Fultz, Custodian Residential Life. Most of these people are probably pretty busy this morning with move-in going on, so I don't expect them to be here. Calvin Kaufman, Custodian Student Residential Life. Patricia Gerhardt, Custodian Victory Village. Tyler Marcotte, Academic Custodial Supervisor. Spencer Goff, Custodian Victory Village. Brian Valentine, Custodian Agnew Hall. From the physical plant, Mr. Larry Degg, Shuttle Bus Driver. Christopher Lee, Energy Division. Blake Leiker, Grounds Technician. Laken Penalto, Grounds Technician. Scott Relaford, Energy Division. Dylan Steffen, Shuttle Bus Driver. Those two guys are probably a little busy this morning also. From Printing Services, Susan Shank, Journeyman Printer. From Student Fiscal Services, Corey Elson, Accounting Manager. Thanks, Corey. Kelsey Fonenstill, Accounting Specialist. From Technology Services, Nathan Andrew, Digital Media Production Technician. I think that's it for me. Joey, you're up next. So, thank you very much. Give him one more round for a warm welcome. Thank you.
Dr. Joey Lynn, Vice President for Student Affairs, will introduce the new staff in his area.
Jeff, do you want me to forward, or are you going to forward? They're doing it for us. Welcome, everyone, to a brand new year. It's going to be a great semester and fall and spring, I should say. This is a first, though, I have to tell you, because we have 64 degrees at move-in. That has never happened. It's always 115, so we welcome the weather definitely over in the new Victory Village. I'm honored to introduce the Student Affairs new employees, and we're going to start in the Student Affairs office. Dr. Teresa Clouch is the new Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs and Title IX Coordinator. Taylor Criley is the new Director of Inclusion and Diversity Excellence. Our admissions people are helping students move in, so they are not here, but I do want to introduce and welcome Ashley Neese, an admissions counselor. Courtney Kanzenbach, admissions counselor. Mr. Hugo Perez, Assistant Director of Admissions. Mr. Brandon Taylor, admissions recruiter. And Carolyn Tatro, admissions counselor. In our Career Services unit, we have a promotion for Karen McCullough, the new Director of Career Services. From our Center for Student Involvement, we have Stephen Hobson, Coordinator for Student Involvement in Greek Life. From International Student Services, Angie Roth, Assistant Director. From the Kansas Academy in Math and Science, Will Burns is back with us as Assistant Director. From the Registrar's Office, Rachel Cron is a Degree Analyst. And Miranda Watkins is Enrollment Management Assistant. From Residential Life, Kyle Corbett is a Tiger Place Director. Dylan Kirsten, McMidas Hall Director. Amber Kincaid, Administrative Assistant. Suzanne Rose, Custer Hall Director. From our virtual college, a promotion for Kelsey Broadway, the new Military Student Specialist. A promotion for Kathleen Cook, Assistant Director of Virtual College. A promotion for Erica Fisher, Articulation Coordinator. Taylor McClellan, Higher Education Opportunity Center of Colorado. Another promotion for Mr. Mike Michaelis, Director of the Virtual College. And finally, Mercedes Ramos, Higher Education Opportunity Center Program Manager in Garden City. Welcome to Tigerland. Thank you.
Thank you to the Vice Presidents for your help with those introductions. At this time, let me introduce our interim president, Dr. Andy Tompkins. Dr. Andy Tompkins was appointed interim president of Fort Hays State University on December 19, 2016. He served as president and CEO of the Kansas Board of Regents beginning in 2010 and retired from position in 2015. Throughout his career, he served at all levels of public education, beginning his career as a high school English teacher. Dr. Tompkins has served as a high school principal and superintendent, a university faculty member and dean, and as the Commissioner of Education for the Kansas Department of Education. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dr. Andy Tompkins.
Well, good morning, and I can't believe they got through all those names that quick. I thought it'd be quite a bit longer, but pretty good once we got it rolling. All right, well, my welcome also to you, and I promise, as the others have, to kind of keep this brief, but I'm going to try to make my little part today a little newsy. What's kind of been happening, what's getting ready to happen, a couple or three closing thoughts for you as we go into the year. So if you would mind, whoever's doing this, go to the next slide. My first question I asked myself is, well, what's been happening this summer? So I put on here kind of a list of things. I'm not the best at PowerPoints. I put them together myself, so hang in here with me. We did have a good summer school. It was interesting to me to see how many we had on campus and how many we really had online. You all know this probably better than I do, but we had about a little enrollment increase this summer in summer school. As you know, we're finishing our residence hall projects and also our Applied Technology Center, and those are going to be exciting projects. They have been for us, and really upgrades the look on the campus. We also completed new energy-efficient lighting across there's another phase to go, I think, next summer, but they are really beautiful, and they're going to be a wonderful addition for our campus. Also, if you wonder what's going on out at the Gross Memorial, there's a sewer project, and they've been doing it in phases. I think there's another one next summer too. So, but this summer it's kind of the north end, and they're redoing the restrooms when they're in there. We also had some great generous donors that helped us. If you haven't looked yet, all the seating on the west side of Lewis Field is all with backs and so forth, which is really going to be nice, I think, for those who go to the ball games. And also we have this unbelievable new scoreboard in Gross Memorial that I can't wait for you to see. I mean, it's going to make even the event a lot more exciting. So it's fun, and it will be a nice thing. I put on here continuing implementation of Workday because I know Workday is a work in progress. And you know what? For all the frustrations that we've had, I want to ask one thing. Remember, it's our colleagues working hard night and day to try to get the thing implemented. So keep helping and supporting them, giving them ideas when things need to change. But I'm telling you, it's been a big project. It will continue to be. As you know, we're now into the student records part of that will take us another 30 months or so. So it's a work in progress, and your patience and our thanks to those who are laboring in the fields. As you've seen, we've hired a lot of new staff and faculty. And then the thing being my first summer on campus, I couldn't believe is all the events that we have on campus with camps and professional trainings and all that kind of a thing. I mean, several thousand people on campus. And so those of you who are involved in all of that, my thanks to you. So my next slide, please. Next is what's coming up for next year. So now, slide. There you go. First of all, I thought you might like a building project update. Out there, we printed a few cards. If you have someone you want to do, if you want to just keep a card on some of the dedications, but I wanted you to get an idea about our schedule for dedications. We're dedicating the Robbins Banking Institute a week from Friday. A week from Saturday, we're dedicating the track. And then on the first home football game, which is the 7th, and it's a night game, but that afternoon we're going to be dedicating Victor E. Village, which for some of you all is the New West. By the way, did I say that? I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier or last spring, but we call these Tiger Village, Victor E. Village, hoping that someone will come forward and want to have their name on those new buildings. So that's why we've got new unique names on them. But we're going to do Victor E. On the 7th of September, and then over homecoming, we will also do the Advanced Tech Center, and then also the Tiger Place. So it ought to be kind of an exciting time. For me, this is exciting because for institutions like to have this kind of new excitement, new facilities, and so forth, all in kind of one time, it's a wonderful time for us. I want to make sure you know Davis Hall and the Old West are going down this fall. We think they will be down before Christmas. That's our hope, and maybe even before that. They're doing abatement in them right now for asbestos. Of course, all of them have some of that in it. And then they will start demolition. The same contractor's doing both of those. But I want you to kind of know that's getting ready to happen. And then behind the new Victory Village, there will be a new parking lot with about 300 places that will come once we have the Old West down. And then also we've been in the planning stages for new art and graphic design building that will go beside, where Davis goes down. It will start beside Rarick Hall and then be attached to the old, what we call the power plant or whatever, for a display area. And it's going to be an exciting project also. I think it'll be bid in around November, December, and we should see some building starting on that in the first of next year. Next slide. So what's being planned for this year, and some things that I wanted to kind of bring to your attention so you kind of know what's going to maybe happen this year. First thing, we know it's been quite a while since we've redone our marketing plan and also redone our website. This is the year for that. It's a huge project, but our goal is to try to hope to have this done and ready to go by next summer. And so I think they're working on what do they call it, the management system right now, and then they'll get into the marketing and the website redesign after that. One thing I want you to be aware of, because I got my notification like you, we're one of the last institutions, and we're still called a state agency. We're a public body, we're a state agency, but we're one of the last state agencies to have an IT security audit. Nearly every other university has gone through this, and nearly every other university has had a unique experience in front of the audit committee of the legislature. So what we're doing, and we've had great work with Mark and Jessica in getting our policies together. The training is a part of what we have to do. They've already been here one day or two. They will be here for a week, starting next week, I believe, or the week after next week. for a whole week. And what comes out of this is a report that actually goes to the legislature about our security and our weaknesses and our vulnerabilities and so forth. And why I think it's important we know about this is, guess what? You're going to see, there's going to be things we're going to have to do to make sure our security is even better. And we get alerts all the time about this. But I think it's important, much of what we're being asked to do to really upgrade our security is a part of this audit. And we're trying to take this as, hey, what can we learn from this? How can we make this help us get better? That's our best way to approach this, and that's what we're trying to do. Another one is, as many of you know, we've kind of got started a couple of years ago on a strategic plan. It kind of slowed down a little bit. We've tried to kind of re-energize that a little bit, thanks to Tim and Deb for their leadership and others who are going to be on that planning, and our goal to try to get into having a strategic plan ready and try to get approval by the board to help the next president. Another one I wanted to talk about a minute was just implementing and studying this idea of strategic growth model. And if you do the next slide, I thought you all might like to see what our history has been in terms of growth. And we've done this, and Dennis, thank you for helping me with this. But the top line here tells you what the total has been, what our total growth has been since 10. And then these next lines show you in what of the three areas that we kind of look at our enrollment. On campus, virtual, international, and total. And you can kind of see what's been happening. Our real growth right now has been online. Everything else has generally been flat to down a little bit. And if you do the next one, we also did this for graduate, and you can kind of see a similar thing. Our on campus has been relatively flat, and the place that we've had the most growth has basically been in virtual. Well, one of the things that has been great for me in representing you this last 8-9 months has always been talking about, well, you know what? We've been fortunate. We've had 16 years of continuous growth. Well, we're not there yet for this year. People, as some of you know, we're working hard to get back to where we were last year. And so I want you to realize that there's going to be a lot of effort going in just to see if we're going to be close to where we were last year. Through efforts that we had and that people have been working on, I think we're going to see some nice growth in the following year. But this year, I'm just trying to make sure you all know that our growth it's soft right now, and we're working hard to see if we can at least get back to where we were last year. Okay, next one. Another thing we've learned, I learned this last year, basically visiting with some of you. We've had a couple, it may have been the year before or maybe the year before that, we had a couple of task forces that brought forth some recommendations, one on civic engagement of our students, another one on looking at the idea of student advising. So we thought, hey, if they've done some work and there's some recommendations there, we ought to try to find some way to kind of re-engage us to say, hey, what are those things should we reconsider or consider as things that might help us improve. As many of you know, we're on a $100 million journey campaign for our foundation. If you don't know, we're over halfway there. Last year, you all, this is phenomenal. I've told a lot of groups, this is the most surprise I've had is the support we have from our donors. But, our assets, last year we had a monstrous year, nearly $18 to $20 million raised. For a place, that's a wow. And the assets of the foundation grew dramatically last year. And I tell you this because we know what those foundation years will be like. They'll be like this. So we don't anticipate next year will be like that. But having years like this are a culmination of people who've paid it forward for years, who've been working with those donors for years to find the project that matches them or at the right time and so forth. And so I think it's a time of celebration for this institution because we know a lot of those either help us with certain projects we have, but 45% of that campaign is for scholarships for our students and support of faculty and things on campus. So it's a wonderful thing. Another thing, of course, is we're continue to try to expand our international partnerships. I'd tell you, after 18 days in China, it's a long old haul, but those partnerships are still, I think, good. As a matter of fact, I think we'll see some growth in those partnerships next year. But I think the smart thing for us as a university continue to do, I know President Martin wanted to do this, I know President Hammond wanted to do this, is to continue to look for other partnerships so that you're not all dependent on one. And so I think that's a big part of what we need to continue to do. One other thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed, but this is a trend across the nation in these universities, and that is international applications for students coming to campuses in the United States are down nationwide. And if you look at our enrollment of international students last year and compare it to, wherever the heyday was of when we had international students, we're down probably 150 to 200 students. And so I think part of our going forward is continuing to find ways to we know the market is saturated out there with all kinds of universities trying to attract students to come. But I'm telling you, I think that will be another part of how we will go forward, is saying, hey, what do we have to do now to really start targeting some attracting of those international students to us? And then the last thing I have on here is select a new president, which you all know, and we've got, 8 or 9 or 10 of you that are serving on that committee, and we'll make sure, if you probably don't have it right now, but we'll make sure you have a list of who that is, and you can tell them. I think they will start their screening in September, and hopefully maybe have recommendations to the Board of Regents in October, and maybe we'll learn something by the end of October or 1st of November. So, all right, all. That's it, except for a couple of comments. First of all, to our new faculty and staff, not only welcome, but I want to tell you, last year I went around, tried to go to every department. I missed 1 or 2, but most of them I got around to. I've tried to get around to meeting a lot of other people on campus. And for those people who are new here, either faculty or staff, I think you just got lucky. I don't know of a place where you have, and many of these people are people that have been with this institution for a long time. They're the ones who've carried this institution, who've kept it moving forward. And I think that, all of us that are here, I want to challenge us to say, how do we make sure these people feel at home? How do we make sure that they see this as a good place for them, just as it has been for us? So one little challenge I have is, let's make sure we get to know these new people and welcome them just like you have me and others. Another thing I wanted to let you know about is I visited with a lot of constituencies. That's what people in this role do. You visit with a lot of people. Alumni and donors and legislators and local community and people in other kinds of agencies across the state. And all of those things, what I've seen is a theme emerge that's just warming to my heart. I have yet to find a person who doesn't think that Fort Hays State is absolutely one of, if not the best place for a student to get education, at a place that everybody cares about that student and their success. That's for you. You may have remembered on the little first slide I put on there, making a difference for lifetime. I went back and read, everybody had a theme every year. I'm not real good at themes, but I thought, well, this is really what I've heard. Is that what these people tell me over and over and over again is that you've made a difference in their life for years. And you may not recognize it, because a lot of times it's getting them through our class. It may be getting them into their job, because we look at ourselves in that way. But I'm telling you, we've had them all ages. We took a trip about 4 or 5 weeks ago for an alumni trip to Tulsa and Houston and Dallas, and guess what? I heard it time and time and time again about what a difference this place has made in their life. So, as you know, a reputation like this, I got a note or two I want to refer to here, is not reflective of a single event for a few students, but a way of educating people that makes a difference in their lives for a lifetime. It is also reflective of the impact that all of the adults on campus have on the students' success. How we greet them when they get their sandwich. How we say hi to them when they come in the dorm. What we do when they go to all the adults have a chance to make a great impact on every student in this place. But as you know, reputations like this must be continually earned through our actions and not just our words. I believe this is one of the keys to our success in attracting and educating students. Nelson Mandela once said that a good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. So my first challenge to you today is that as we begin a new academic year is to continue educating and supporting our students with your heads and your hearts so that you make a difference in their lives for a lifetime. My second challenge for you is for each of us to find ways, our own ways, to find joy and happiness in what we do each day and in our relationships with each other and with our students. This will be easy some days, and it will be hard some days. It will require us that we take the high road when it is more emotionally satisfying to take the low road. This will also mean that we recognize our duty to see more potential in others than they may be able to see in themselves, and then to encourage them. One of my favorite sayings applies to this challenge. The happiest people don't have the best of everything. They make the best of everything. So my sincere hope is that each of you can look for ways to find joy and happiness in your work and in your life this year and try to make the best of everything that's going to come our way. Have a great year and go Tigers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tompkins. Wonderful remarks. At this time, we will move on to the award presentations. And I would like to ask Mr. Darren O'Connor, President of Commerce Bank, to assist in presenting the next two awards. Help me welcome Darren. The Faculty Member of the Year Award is selected from the past year's recipients of the Faculty Awards for Teaching, Research Scholarly Activity, and Service. A $1,000 stipend for this award is provided by Commerce Bank. Would the Fall 2016 and Spring 2017 award winners who are in attendance please come forward when your names are announced? These would be the 6 finalists. From the Research and Scholarly Activities Award category, Dr. Trey Hill, Assistant Professor of Psychology, and Dr. Bill Stark, Professor of Biological Sciences. Please come forward. In the Service Award category, we have Dr. David Fitzhugh, Associate Professor of Health and Human Performance, and Dr. Kate McGonigal, Associate Professor of Sociology. And selected for outstanding teaching were Dr. Eric Gillick, Professor of Biological Sciences, and Dr. Helen Miles, Assistant Professor of Health and Human Performance. We had 6 fantastic award recipients this year. From that group of 6, we will identify the 2017 Faculty Member of the Year. It is my... It is my pleasure to recognize Dr. Helen Miles as the 2017 Faculty Member of the Year. Helen's career has spanned over 40 years, and she continues to improve her teaching methods and incorporates new ideas and technology in her classes. She does not shy away from taking on the challenging of developing new and or updating existing courses for on-campus and virtual delivery. She is meticulous in assuring students find her courses provide an environment for learning. Congratulations, Helen. You represent the best of what Fort Hays State has to offer. Thank you all. You can now be seated. What a wonderful group of faculty. The next award is the Edmund Shearer Advisor of the Year Award. The Edmund Shearer Faculty Advisor of the Year Award is presented to individuals who have demonstrated qualities associated with outstanding academic advising of our students. Ed Shearer, the namesake of the award, was a former department chair of chemistry. He was known for the high value he placed on student advisement. One advisor can be recognized from each of the 5 academic colleges. The recipient of the award will also be nominated for the National Academic Advising Association Award, or the NACADA Award. Each FHSU winner will be presented a certificate and a monetary stipend. 3 of the nominees receive a stipend of $150, and the winning recipient receives $500. This award is also sponsored by Commerce Bank. Will the College Academic Advising Award nominees please come forward when your names are announced? Dr. Brooke Moore, Assistant Professor of Advanced Education Programs. Mr. Kevin Schaefer, Associate Professor of Informatics. And Dr. Keith Brimmer, Assistant Professor of Geosciences. Congratulations to all 3 of you. From this group of finalists, it is my pleasure to recognize Dr. Brooke Moore as the recipient of the 2017 Edmund Shearer Advisor of the Year Award. Brooke has taken on the leadership role as a special education program coordinator. There are approximately 290 degree and non-degree seeking students in the program. In the short time she has been here, she has created a website for the program with detailed information about the program, faculty policies, and advising. Congratulations, Brooke. You're exemplary in service to the university. Thank you, Darren and Commerce Bank, for your support of our faculty and staff. Much appreciated. The next award is the John Heinrichs Outstanding Research Mentor Award. In following our university's mission to foster research, the Outstanding Undergraduate Research Mentor Award was created. The award is named after our esteemed former colleague, Dr. John Heinrichs. John was very active and committed to all facets of research here at the university. This award recognizes and rewards a faculty member for his or her commitment, time, and energy necessary to foster undergraduate research. All current faculty and unclassified staff members at levels comparable to academic faculty are eligible. The $500 of OOE funding will be provided to the winner's home department to benefit the recipient and support projects within that unit. The award is sponsored by the Office of the Provost, the Undergraduate Research Environment Committee, and the Office of Scholarship and Sponsored Programs. The Undergraduate Research Environment Steering Committee reviews the nominations and sends forward the name of the recipient to the graduate dean, who makes a recommendation to the provost. The recipient of the award this year is Dr. Hendrada Ali, Associate Professor of Geosciences. Hendrada, please come forward. She happens to be in the balcony, so she's taking the long way home. As she works her way to the stage, Dr. Ali has engaged more than 30 undergraduate students in research since 2010. Her students have performed research primarily in environmental geology, geophysical research, and qualitative research, interviewing professionals in the discipline. She serves on Fort Hays State University and national committees that encourage undergraduate research and participates in professional development activities to improve her support of undergraduate research. Congratulations, Hendrada, on your award. Our next award, we will recognize Virtual College Adjuncts of the Year. The Virtual College Adjunct Recognition Program was developed to honor adjunct faculty who provide an outstanding online learning environment. Like our traditional on-campus professoriate, we appreciate the outstanding and largely under-recognized efforts of our adjunct faculty. Adjunct faculty play a tremendous role in the success of Fort Hays State University. Eligibility is determined based on experience, instructional evaluations, and consideration of the academic council. Each year, the university recognizes one exceptional adjunct faculty member from each of the 5 academic colleges. Each of these individuals will then receive a $500 check. Please, if you, each awardee or honoree, will you please come forward when your name is announced? Representing the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, Mr. John Ross. From the Robbins College of Business and Entrepreneurship, Mr. Tom Zerfus. Representing the College of Education, Ms. Arlia Carmack. From the College of Health and Behavioral Sciences, Ms. Raquela Tuxorn. And from the Worth College of Science, Technology, and Mathematics, Ms. Jill Gertzen. Congratulations to all of you for your outstanding service to the university and your willingness to serve the important role as an adjunct professor. Thank you all. Our next set of awards is the Internationalization of the Campus and Curriculum Award. The Internationalization of the Campus or Curriculum Award is in its 5th year. Any full-time faculty, unclassified, or university support staff member is eligible to be nominated. The award winner receives a monetary award of $500 provided by the Office of the Provost. The recipient will also be nominated for the NAFSA Region 2 Bruce Tracy Award. Each candidate's efforts were weighed in 3 areas: work-related internationalization, outside of work internationalization efforts, and visibility in the campus and community supporting internationalization. There are 2 recipients of the award this year. Please come forward when your name is read. They are Ms. Kathleen Ward, Associate Professor of Nursing, and Dr. Brett Whitaker, Assistant Professor of Leadership Studies. Each summer, Kathleen leads a group of nursing students on a medical mission trip to the Dominican Republic. The experience provides an experience in cultural humility, and the students are able to practice nursing skills using basic assessment. Brett has consistently revised all of the organizational leadership curriculum at both Shenyang Normal and CIAS University. He has traveled extensively to China, focusing on the development of instructors, the partnerships, and the students. Congratulations, Kathleen and Brett. Our next award, they just keep coming. The Closing the Loop Department Award. The Closing the Loop is an award given to an academic department that has implemented degree program improvements as evidenced by analysis of and improvements in the achievement rates of programmatic and course level student learning outcomes. The award will provide $2,000 to be deposited in the department's OOE account to be shared with the faculty members of the department responsible for the work. These funds can be used for any valid OE expense, such as developmental travel, hospitality, equipment, and instructional support purchases. At this time, would Ms. Shelley Buffington, financial advisor from Voya Financial Advisors, come on stage to present the check to the winning department? So Shelley representing Voya. Let's welcome Shelley to the stage. As with Commerce Bank, we're very glad to have the Voya Financial Advisors as a partner with us. This year's winner is the Department of Psychology. Will Dr. Trey Hill, interim chair, please come forward and accept the award for the department. In order to improve quantitative literacy and increase student performance, the department implemented a multi-pronged approach beginning at the end of the spring 2016 semester by changing the course number of Psych 250 to Psych 480 to clearly illustrate the workload and rigor of the course, and restructured the course to be more learner-centered. After implementing the first year of intervention, the rate of DU, W, and I's decreased by 21%. So a tremendous increase in student performance. The complete application document is made available upon request. Please help me in congratulating all of the faculty in the Department of Psychology on this outstanding achievement. You all can stand as well. Again, thank you, Shelley, and thank you to Voya. It is now time for Dr. Tompkins to provide some awards. Let me get out of your way. Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to announce some additional award presentations this year, starting with the Distinguished Service Award, which was created for the purpose of allowing university employees to recognize the outstanding and unusual contributions of their peers, which are clearly above and beyond the norm. This year's unclassified professional staff recipient is Rachel Diepenbush, Accounting Associate Director in the Business Office. Rachel. Is Rachel here? Yes. The top one. Rachel has served Fort Hays State University community for the past 19 years. She has always demonstrates in her position a desire to help the university community in better understanding the business processes, which for some of us seem complicated at times. So congratulations, Rachel. The next award for the University Support Staff Award goes to Tanya Rohr, Administrative Specialist and the Dean of the College of Health and Behavioral Science Offices. Come on down, Tanya. As I said, Tanya works in the College of Health and Behavioral Sciences, supporting degree programs in allied health, communication sciences and disorders, health and human performance, nursing, psychology, and social work. She works selflessly with the good of the academic units and the good of the institution in mind. Congratulations, Tanya. The Griffin Family Outstanding Service Awards recognize 4 exceptional and dedicated staff who support the daily campus operations and food service operations at Fort Hays State University. Employees nominated for this award exhibit a strong commitment to excellence, display pride in work, and present dedication to providing a positive working environment in which students and employees flourish. This year's recipient of the Operations Regular Staff Award is Ms. Josie Felt, custodian for Tamanic Hall. Is Josie here? Josie provides custodial services there and makes serving students and hosting visitors a wonderful experience. We congratulate Josie. Is she here? No. Okay. Next is the Food Service Regular Staff Award, and that is presented to Pam Driscoll. Pam, would you come forward? Yeah. Listen to that, Pam. Congratulations. Yeah. Obviously, you've gotten coffee at Starbucks. As you know, she is a Starbucks Chartwell employee who's well known to us. She always has a smile on her face and customer service at the forefront. Pam knows customers by name and also knows what they want even before they order it. If you're a first-time customer, and those of you who are new, you'll know that your name will be the next time. She'll know it the next time you come back. Students, faculty, staff, and visitors all love Pam being part of our family. Congratulations, Pam, and thank you. The Griffin Family Outstanding Service Award also recognizes 2 student employees across the campus for providing dedicated service to make this a great place to be. The 2 student employees recognized for 2017 are Andrew Luna, who is an employee at Cunningham Hall Complex and Gross Memorial, and Matt Wagner, who is a student employee who works for Chartwells. Are they here? Matt here? Hey, Matt's here. Congratulations, Matt. This time I'd like to thank Mr. Ken Griffin for providing funding for these awards. Ken, are you here? Could you stand and let us say thanks to you? Where are we, Ken? Come on. Thank you, Ken. We certainly appreciate your support. Final one that I have is the President's Distinguished Scholar Award, which was first conferred in 1989. All unclassified employees of the university are eligible for consideration and are evaluated for this honor by analysis of their performance in the categories of research, creative activities, service, and instruction. Acceptable levels of performance must be demonstrated in service instruction, but with the primary focus of this on the award on research and creative activities. An evaluation committee reviews applications and a recommendation is forwarded to me. The committee is composed of 5 of the most recent award winners. The provost serves as the chair of the committee and is responsible for administration of the award process. It gives me great pleasure to announce the winner of the 2017 President's Distinguished Scholar Award to Dr. Jennifer Bonds-Racky. Please come forward, Jennifer. Congratulations. I'd like to take this opportunity to share some of Jennifer's educational accomplishments. She received her PhD and master's degree from Kansas State University and her bachelor's degree from Christian Brothers University. She became a faculty member and department chair of psychology at the university in 2010 and promoted to rank of professor in 2015. This July, Jennifer was appointed dean of the graduate school. Jennifer has 3 areas of research: psychology of teaching, decision-making, and psychology of mass communication. Each of these 3 areas has resulted in peer-reviewed publications and professional presentations. She has co-authored, authored, and edited 29 articles, chapters, or books since she arrived at Fort Hays State, along with her teaching load, service commitments, and administrative responsibilities. In the last year alone, she has 6 publications, including the publication of a social psychology textbook. She has also contributed to disciplinary newsletters and test banks and has given more than 40 presentations ranging from local Brownback faculty development sessions to national disciplinary conferences. Jennifer has served as a reviewer for several journals and textbooks and has served as the managing editor for the journal Psychology Inquiry. Her research grants have brought nearly $30,000 to campus, the bulk of which supports a critical program on campus youth suicide prevention. Jennifer has a consistent record of high-quality teaching, scholarship, and service as a member of the FHSU faculty. It's only fitting to honor her contribution with this year's award. It's my pleasure to present to you Dr. Jennifer Bonds-Racky, the 2017 President's Distinguished Scholar.
Okay. At this time, what you've all been waiting for, will Chief Ed Howell, Director of University Police, and Ms. Carrie Wassinger, General Counsel, please come forward for their presentation.
Thank you and good morning and welcome back. Are we all ready to have a nice, safe, upcoming year? I assume that we do, right? I can tell you, and I'm happy to report that overall at your university, you have a very safe university. Now, while we're not exempt from any type of criminal activity, our crime activity is very, very moderate. And a lot of that is thanks to you. You are our reporting mechanism. You are our eyes and our ears. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. How many people in here in the past have seen and heard me talk about active shooter? A lot, right? Well, we're not going to focus on that this go around. What we are going to talk about is concealed carry. But before we go there, everybody, I assume, has signed up for Tiger Tracks on emergency notification. Yes? If not, you need to do that. In the event that something would occur and you want to be notified, that's the method that we utilize, whether that be a phone call, a text, and or email. Also, if you haven't visited that area in a while, you might want to update it. So with that said, concealed carry. Why did that come about? And Carrie, do you want to give a legal perspective? How that occurred?
Short background. How many of you first have seen our concealed carry gun policy? We emailed it out at the end of the semester. It is currently on the website as well. Okay, so a majority have seen it. What we're here today to do is just to make sure we give everybody a brief reminder. As of July 1, concealed carry is allowed on campus. That's a statutory allowance that we are following. So we want to make sure everybody understands that. Everybody's seen the pretty white signs on the doors with the red octagon? Anybody stop and read what those say? No open carry on campus. We can prohibit open carry. We cannot prohibit concealed carry unless adequate security measures are in place. Does everybody know what adequate security measures are? Exactly. How many of you gone to an airport, right? That's adequate security measures. Anybody gone to the courthouse here in Hayes? That's adequate security measures. So unless we put adequate security measures on every entrance in a building, concealed carry is allowed. Okay, so I want everybody to kind of understand that.
You see the gentleman behind me? He's my bodyguard. But with that said, we also brought him up to kind of demonstrate a few different things. When we talk about open carry, and if you take a look at Cody, when he turns to the side, can you see a firearm? Now, as you can tell, Cody is very humble. So that is open carry. Typically, law enforcement, you will see that. And as Carrie had indicated, general public cannot carry open in our facilities or within the confines of the university. Now, concealed carry. Does everybody understand what that means? How many people in here think I'm carrying a firearm? Is that because I'm the chief or what? So with that said,
Can anybody see his firearm? Do you see it? Do you see his firearm? But we think he's carrying, right? Just because of his title.
now I'm not quite as eloquent as Cody, and I don't personally.
Is it concealed now? Okay.
So, with concealed carry, and while we're talking about this, and this is a surprise I have for you.
Oh, great.
Here we go. Most of the time, I don't have a problem with people hearing me. Now, with that said, with concealed carry, are you limited by the number of firearms that you can actually carry on your person? No. So, with that said, how many think that I'm carrying just one gun? And by the way, this is only for purpose of demonstration. I typically do not do this. Okay, Mike? So with that said, I'm actually carrying 2 guns. Can you tell where the other one is?
Is it on?
And we call that imprinting. Would that be a violation of university policy? Yes. So hopefully you enjoyed the demonstration, and I can't wait to take this off because it's kind of like a shackle.
All right, a couple other really important factors that we want to make sure that we share in regards to the concealed carry policy. A couple things I do want everybody to do is if you have not read it or you have not read it recently, please pull it out and read it again. We want to make sure everybody's aware. Part of the reason that Cody's so good at that curtsy is this is our, 5th or 6th presentation this week alone, I think. So we've gotten, he's really good at the curtsy at this point in time for us. But we want to make sure that everybody understands that if your department or division wants more time and more information around the policy, asking us questions about specific instances or possibilities and hypotheticals, contact Ed or I. We will be there in no time flat to be happy to sit down with everybody and answer questions and to give further information. Faculty and staff are allowed to conceal carry under the statute as well. Okay, a couple things that I want everybody to remember. One, permits are no longer required in the state to conceal carry, but strongly recommended. I cannot require it, but I can strongly recommend, and we've been telling this to every group we talk to, is if you make that personal choice, make that personal choice smart. Okay?
One of the things I'd like to add to that is not only my opinion being, even though it is not a requirement, if you make that personal decision to carry a firearm, understand that there's a lot of responsibility and liability associated with that. And not only the proficiency of that firearm, but the use of that firearm in a deadly force situation. Otherwise, the entanglements, whether that be civil and or criminal, are going to be high.
We're good. We're trying to keep it short, no video this year, okay? I just want everybody to know.
There are a few exemptions on campus that we need to talk a little bit about. If you notice, we got tiger tots over here at Wary Hall. To give you an example, can an individual carry concealed in that location? The answer to that question would be yes. Now, Early Childhood Development Center, which is located down here on the south part, can you carry concealed there? The answer is no. The reason for that?
Tiger Tots is part of a bigger building. For us to exempt that building, we'd have to exempt the entire building of Rarick. However, Hayes Area Children's Center rents that entire facility. They control that entire facility, so they have the ability to leave those no concealed carry signs up. Now, there is another exception, Lewis Field. Other than our games, what occurs at Lewis Field? We have high school games, correct? Because the high school rents the entire facility for their games, several hours before to several hours after, they are allowed during their games to put back up the no concealed carry. So you will see signs potentially changing, because I think both of the high schools in town are planning on putting those signs back up from the discussions I've had with them. You will see signs changing, going back and forth during those time frames, that there will be no concealed carry during their games because they rent the entire facility and take control of that. So there are a few exceptions. Can anybody think of anything else that might be an exception on campus? We have a few labs that meet OSHA federal regulation exemptions. So then they'll trump our state statute. Those can be exempted during those lab times. Not all the time, during those lab times. We also have, for nursing and nursing students, obviously MRI labs and things of that nature. Those are exempted once again based upon federal regulations. It's a very small percentage, but there are a handful of those.
One other thing I need to mention is in the event that you would see a policy violation, typically how that's going to be handled, if it's reported to our department, we do a investigation to determine if it's going to be a criminal issue. If it is not a criminal issue, then we do the appropriate referral. If it's a student, it'll be a student code of conduct issue. If it's a faculty issue, then we'll be engaged with the university attorney's office in addition to the provost. And if it's a faculty or a staff member, then of course Mike will be involved in addition to HR. And there are a variety of different sanctions. And Carrie, do you want to talk a little bit about the sanctions?
Actually, I want to ask one question real quickly. Ed, what happens if I see a violation? I see somebody with their gun out. Do I go up and tell them to put it away?
That's another thing we're going to talk about in terms of the reporting. How would you report it?
I don't want you to go up to them and tell them to put it away. Please do not do that.
Do you get paid to do that? Do you want to be confrontational? Do you want to address somebody that may have a gun with ill intent? Probably not. So that's what we get paid to do. So give us a call. Guess what the process is for notifying our department on that particular event?
911. Everybody get that? We teach this to our kids all the time, right? 911 is what I want you to do. I don't want you approaching them yourselves. Our law enforcement here at UPD does have direct lines, but if you call 911, it'll be dispatched much quicker and cleaner, and the information will be gathered to be done that. So I want you to call 911 if you see a violation. Does everybody understand that? No going up and asking, please don't do that.
The reason why we want you to contact 911 is the more information that you can give, the better off the response is going to be. Because you can imagine how we're going to respond. Oh my God, we got a guy in my classroom, he's got a gun waving it around. As opposed to, we got a guy in the classroom and he was just showing the gun to his buddy. What do you think our response is going to be given both those scenarios? The first one is going to be a tactical response. The second one's going to be a lot more low-key. So that's why we want you to go through 911, give the dispatcher all the prevalent information.
All right, sanctions. The important stuff, right? What happens if you violate? Oh, we got a question? We don't rent out Cunningham, and Cunningham is attached to Gross, so it does not meet the state statute definition. Same thing. We don't rent out Cunningham. Nope, we'd have to put up metal detectors.
The whole concept behind the statute is that you can preclude concealed carry. But if you do, you have to provide adequate security measures, which typically is kind of like the concept with the airport screen, to ensure that no other individual can bring in a concealed weapon. As Carrie had pointed out earlier, this is going to generate a lot of discussion points, and I would strongly recommend, because we do not have time today to ask or have you ask a lot of questions, set up a time with us and we'll come in and we'll discuss it with your department as a whole, and we can address those questions in their entirety.
Sanctions. We kind of talked about, where we'd be at. These sanctions for this policy violation are treated just like sanctions for any other university policy. So for faculty and staff, you're going to go through your procedures and stuff. Students are going to go through their code of conduct and so forth for any violations of this. Now, as you can imagine, the violations of this policy are going to have a range. Is it accident that, Chief Howell's wearing his concealed carry, but he goes to grab something in his pocket and somebody accidentally sees his firearm versus someone standing in the middle of the classroom waving it around? Do you think the sanctions are going to be the same? Probably not, right? We're going to look at the totality of the circumstances and attaching the sanctions to that. And I can also tell you that if I get a complaint that Chief Howell's gun has been seen 7 times this week by accident, do you think my sanctions are starting to raise a little bit? All right, so we want you guys to understand that we're going to be treating these very seriously, but also within reason, okay? They can result, for faculty and staff, they can result on the high end as dismissals, terminations. So I want everybody to understand that. Students, same thing. They can be banned. They can be removed from campus. Those are the high end, obviously. But I want everybody to understand the sanctions are going to be treated seriously.
One final thing before we leave, and again, I would just want to reference the active shooter video. If you go to the Fort Hays State University Police Department website, that is on there. Please take that opportunity to refresh, or if you have not seen it before, review it, because that is a good resource on how to respond, you, the individual, in the event that you do have an active shooter event.
And other than that, I just want to reiterate that if you have questions, concerns, or want more information, please contact Chief Howell or myself, and we'll be happy to give one-on-one information and answer questions.
Thank you for your time, and have a great year.
Thank you, Ed and Carrie. Certainly important information as we head into the next year. It is now my opportunity to provide an update from the Division of Academic Affairs, and I will start that just by indicating how excited I am to start the new year. This is actually, I'll be going into my 20th year back at Fort Hays State University. We left here in the mid-'80s and came back in 1998, and it's been such a wonderful opportunity to develop at this institution. And what has really been so evident over those 20 years is that we are surrounded by people who work for Fort Hays State University. Not just at Fort Hays State University, but for Fort Hays State University. And Dr. Tompkins' remarks were aligned with that, and he recognizes that even in his short time here, where he's directly involved with that. And so when we think about the complete alignment with what this institution is from the people that work for this university is just really amazing. So with that, then, I'm very proud to be able to represent the Division of Academic Affairs during this academic year. We have so many great people doing so many great things, and it's just a true honor for me to be able to represent you all. And as I was thinking about this new academic year and my changing role within the year, I was thinking about the other groups that I represent. And many of them may not want me representing them, but I'm really proud to represent so many other groups. And so most recently, the College of Health and Behavioral Sciences, the College of Health and Life Sciences, the Department of Health and Human Performance, who is always sitting over here and to my right. And more importantly, as I'm thinking about the new year and I saw the line of cars wandering around as people were coming in this morning, I assumed everyone wanted to come here and see me speak, and then I realized it was actually move-in day, and that may have been the issue. But my representation goes much deeper. I'm a Fort Hays State University graduate, and I'm really proud of that, and I'm proud of my relationship with Fort Hays State University. And quite honestly, I fit the Fort Hays State University student profile quite well, especially our on-campus students. I come from a rural background. I'm fresh off the ranch in Broken Bow, Nebraska, and I came to Fort Hays State University in 1979. And so, not unlike many of our students, I'm coming from a hometown with no stoplights and a small high school, and a very challenging experience for me. I was one who you might not consider to be college ready. I'm perhaps had some academic possibilities, but I had no concept of higher education. No concept of higher education. And so at first glance, I was not voted most likely to succeed. I'm guessing my first day in bib overalls with no shirt probably didn't help my status all that much. True story, by the way. There are pictures, and it was. And I tell this story to our faculty in the college in years past. I remember being at orientation. Okay. I remember being at orientation in the summer of 1979, and I'm registering for classes in the summer, and the orientation advisor asked me, "How many hours do you want to take?" And I don't know what that means. And she said, "Well, you take a certain number of credit hours." I said, I don't know what you're asking me. She said, "Well, a class is usually 3 hours, 3 credit hours." I said, "Okay, how many credit hours does a student typically take?" The average is 15. "Please put me in 15. So from day one, pre-student, I had someone who helped me with my first step, which was a small step in understanding college. And I bring that up because we are welcoming students to our campus today who are not very different than that. And many of you have the same story to tell. I know that you do. And so the connection with that is really important. I was a student athlete, and which I'm very proud to represent the group of student athletes as well. And the opportunities that provided me, and about 10% of our on-campus students are involved in intercollegiate athletics, and many of our most successful students are involved in intercollegiate athletics. And that was a huge piece for me, because as an out-of-state student, I knew no one, but I had an immediate connection and an immediate social circle, and I understand how important those connections were to my success. When I was lost, which was often, I would just say, "I don't know what to do," and luckily Phil Brethauer would just say, "Well, follow me, Broken Bow." And luckily Phil's a good friend to this day. I don't think he knows my name, he just calls me Broken Bow. But those connections were very, very important. I'm a first-generation graduate, and so I was the first in my family to graduate from college. And again, very, very comparable to all of the students, or to many of the students that we serve at this institution. Why do I bring this up? I'm just asking you to be cognizant of the challenges that these students bring with them, and realize that they're not different than so many of us. And we've been on a college campus for many years. I've not earned a paycheck off of a college campus in over 35 years. So we become very understanding of the system. We know our language. The students that come to our campus are not of that same knowledge and background. Now, over 50% of our students are identified as first-generation college students. So make sure you keep that in mind. And the mentoring certainly that I've received over the years has been really, really valuable. Certainly as a student, as a young professional, and even in my current role, there was always someone out there that would help provide some guidance for a young lion looking to find his way in life. So we're an institution of opportunity and access. We provide access to these students, and we provide them the opportunity for education. And I think that's a value. It's certainly a value to me. To the access is what we are as an institution. We keep our tuition at a level where it's affordable to many of our students who would not be able to go attend in other areas. We have an admission profile that allows students to have the opportunity to come in and make the effort to be successful. And as we progress through the years, through this academic year, we'll be aligning our activities with the efforts we always have to really provide that opportunity and allow those that we've given access to the opportunity to be successful. This is nothing new to us. As Dr. Tompkins mentioned, this place is built on people who care and work very, very hard to assure that our students are successful. We'll see if the new thing they gave me actually works. And it doesn't.
Thank you.
Okay. If we take a look at just academic affairs initiatives, we have a host of big things going this year, and not to spend a tremendous amount of time on these, but I do want to focus on one in specific here for the last 5 minutes or so. But from the academic affairs side, institutional accreditation is a big piece of what we will be involved in through this year. That's not just academic affairs, that's certainly an institutional responsibility, but developing our systems portfolio for submission during this academic year is part of our 8-year, we're in the 3rd year of our 8-year cycle for HLC accreditation, and so our Higher Learning Commission systems portfolio will need to be developed out. And so many of you will be involved in that, and actually the pieces of that portfolio actually align with the things that we do to make this place an effective institution. One of the key pieces this year will be aligning the Division of Academic Affairs priorities with the institutional strategic plan. The institutional strategic plan is in development and redevelopment. We'll have that in place, and we'll be able to align our activities with what we have prioritized institutionally as we move the institution forward as well. We'll continue progress on the development implementation of a general education curriculum. This is a critical challenge for us. There's been a tremendous amount of wonderful work done over the last number of years. We made a tremendous progress going into this academic year, and look forward to working with that committee, the Liberal Education Committee, and the others involved in that. Dr. Brad Will has agreed to take on the leadership of the Liberal Education Committee, so thank you to Brad in that role. The committee members have done a tremendous job and certainly involved a number of people, and that will completely redefine our curriculum as an institution, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. We need to assure that assessment is part of our institutional and program culture. We've made great strides in assessment over the last 2 years. We've started the conversation. It's a much more mature conversation. We have academic units and programs really making progress with that, and we need to continue that. And that actually lines back up with our systems portfolio and Higher Learning Commission accreditation. We have to have a mature assessment profile, and so we need to work, and we will work with Songhi Min and the staff in that area to make sure that assessment really becomes part of our narrative that continues through the year. We need to build out faculty and program development opportunities. We have a number of challenges to continue to stay abreast of the best in pedagogy and technology and blend those so that we can help meet the student needs, and especially those student needs as our student profile continues to evolve over the years. And then continue to be engaged in the distinctive and educationally enriching activities, those things that really have been important to us as an institution. I just listed a few of those, but civic engagement, service and experiential learning, undergraduate research, study abroad, etc. Those are the things that really make us distinctive and allow us to attract students to our campus, keep students on our campus, and get them to persist to degree completion. Really what I wanted to focus on this morning is this concept of student success. And while my path to student success may not warm all of your hearts, I think for many and most, I think it's important to really take a look. So a few images there that really identify how student success can be defined. What I really want to focus on is the one on the right, that picture of commencement. And when we take a look at all of the things we do and the high impact practices and the engaged faculty and high quality curricula, in the end, the ultimate goal for our students is typically graduation and participating in the commencement event. And it's my belief that for every student we admit, we're obligated to provide the best opportunity for success. And that success is completing a degree program. For every student we admit, we're obligated to provide the best opportunity for success. We can't guarantee them success, and we know that's not the narrative. But if we can create the best pathway, that best opportunity, that's where we make a difference. And we do that. We do that pretty well. And so if we take a look at what I consider to be good news, we take a look at the Student Success Index. And hopefully you can see this, but if we take a look at students who succeed in completing degree programs, and this is a relatively new profile. I believe it's been 3 years we've used this profile where we track our students as well as the students who leave but stay in higher education and complete. You can see Fort Hays State University. Oh, that's not on anyway. Fort Hays State University as the bottom bar is right at the state average, and actually above some of our more comparable comprehensive institutions in the state. We only trailed the University of Kansas and Kansas State University with that. But as you take a look at the key at the bottom, the dark blue bar is completed at the home institution. So you see the percent of students who complete at our institution. And we compare favorably to the University of Kansas and Kansas State University and actually exceed the state average. These students are first-time students, which would be all new students, freshmen and transfers. This is not just freshmen. We often just look at freshmen. This is freshmen and transfers. So we do exceptionally well as we compare to the other institutions in our region system. The gold bar is those that transfer to other Regents institutions and complete, and then you can see the other indicators below. So while we've trended down slightly over the last few years, just to about 71%, we're still very competitive and comparable to those institutions. I find that really, really satisfying, in that we're doing a great job of getting our students to completion overall in comparison to our peers within the state. If we take a little closer look at what just the 5 years at Fort Hays State University, what does that blue bar actually represent? Well, you can see in the 2009 cohort, and actually this goes to 2015 because our last year's data were not clean data, so we pulled them back out. But about 58% of the students who come to Fort Hays State University as first-time students complete at Fort Hays State University. And then we can see that 70% either at Fort Hays State University or another institution. And we can see while our overall completion has trended down slightly over those 5 years, our completion at the university has actually stayed stable and trended up slightly. So that's a nice story. That's a great story to be able to tell. Students who come here complete. Now, we have some opportunities as well. So let's talk about focusing on first-time, full-time freshmen. And I bring this up because this is going to be a big part of the conversation as we go into the academic year. What about our first-time, full-time freshmen? What about these students who are moving into the dorms today and tomorrow? Because how do they compare to our peer groups and et cetera? So if we take a look at our retention rate, so we retain from fall to fall, we know that's about 70%. That's trended up slightly. Actually, the last 2-year average was 70.5. So we were a little below 70 2 years ago. This past year we were 72, I think. So we were at 70.5 for retention, which is really pretty decent among our peers. I'm going to ask you a question, thinking about, again, the goal being completion of a credential, a degree program, participating in commencement. What percent of our first-time, full-time freshmen would you guess graduate in 4 years? You don't need to say that out loud. Just put that number in your head. Because quite honestly, I wasn't quite sure until I did a little deeper dive. So think about, okay, if we're going to bring in first-time, full-time freshmen, 4 years, we're going to put people in 30 credit hours a year and a little summer school, and we're good to go. So hold that number, and what we do as an institution, and then also knowing we graduate 58% in that, and that was a 6-year window, by the way, 150% proposal. Our first-time, full-time freshmen who we bring to our campus, 19%, just over 19%, 19.2, and that's a 5-year average, graduate in 4 years. Now, how many should graduate in 4 years? That's a good conversation. We'll have that conversation throughout the year. We're slightly below our peers in that regard, though. So how can we create a pathway? Then a 5-year measure is always an interesting measure as well. And certainly when we take a look at 5-year, now we're up at 35%. So we go from 1 in 5 students who are moving into the dorm today, student affairs, moving into the residence hall today, to 1 in 3 that will graduate in 5 years. Unfortunately, we really level off. We're at 42% who graduate in 6 years. The national average at 6 years is somewhere in the mid to upper 50s, typically. So while we can say, well, our students spread their performance out, and we know our overall profile for 6 years is about 58%, these first-time full-time freshmen are not getting to the finish line in an efficient fashion like I think, and I think many of you would think, perhaps would be what we want to be able to tout to our students. So one of the things that we will, things are already in place here, by the way, and which I'll share here in a minute. The things that we will really work hard on this year is identifying institutional policies, practices, and implementation strategies that may impede progress toward that degree. What are the things, we understand, and if you're sitting there giving me counter arguments already in your head, I understand your arguments. I know, I can recite the things you're telling me that are going to impede our ability to do some of these things. But what I'm asking you to do is think about the things, what can we do to improve this profile, rather than the things that we know already contribute to the profile. And there are some small steps we think perhaps we can do. So what can we do to try and move that needle a little bit? The one thing to think about in this regard, so if we take a look at that 4-year graduation rate, if every department got 1 student to the 4-year completion, we would move the needle about 3.5%. So each unit sitting out here today, you just have to salvage 1 student. You have to keep them on track for 4-year graduation or retain that student, just 1, and we would move the needle about 3.5%. So obviously, and then if we salvage a couple of students, whatever that may mean, and it may be something policy-wise, practice-wise, and it may be interpersonal in nature, a variety of things that we would look at to salvage that. We're not salvaging every student. We know that. Students need to transfer in many cases and go do other things. But also keep in mind that about 23%, in the last 5 years, about 23% of students in the 23 to 26 ACT range don't return after 1 year. So we're not just talking about those who are more at risk as with using academic predictors as a piece of that. We're looking at students who are really predictive for success. So about 1 in 4 of those students who have a chance to be successful, predictively successful, are not returning in 1 year. Again, we know there are a host of reasons for that. There are about 70 to 75 in a given year between 23 and 31 ACT, 70 to 75 students who don't come back after 1 year. So we can find some students, hopefully, that we can create better pathways for. I'm stuck. There we go. One of the projects that we've been in now for a year or so is reimagining the first year project, the RFY project. This has been going on for a while, and I quite honestly, I wanted to bring it up today because even as a dean, I wasn't quite sure what all was going on our campuses. And so it's been kind of fun this summer to get a better understanding of this first year project. And so the American Association of State Colleges and Universities has an initiative where we are reimagining the first year. Go ahead and put the whole thing up for me. Where we're one of 44 institutions that are in this project. And we just came back from a meeting this summer. And so it really gives us an opportunity to reflect on practices that align with enhancing success for first-year students. And these ASCII institutions and the 44 institutions that are in this project are very comparable to us. So we're not talking about comparing ourselves to flagship institutions or private selective admissions institutions. They have very access-oriented missions just like we do. And so along with early alert, the starfish things that many of us are involved in, invasive advising and those sorts of things, there are some things academically that we're actually measuring as part of this project. And actually they're very positive in general, but there are things we'll be reflecting on through the year, is why I bring it up. It's an opportunity to reflect on, again, on the policies and practices that influence student success in that first year. So as part of this project, we're tracking some of these outcomes. We're looking at credit accumulation. And so this is by the completion of the first year, how many credits does that exiting freshman complete? Our average is 31.9. So by that data point, our students are well on their way to a degree in 4 years. That's our average, and that does include some concurrent credit or credit that comes in with the students. The cohort average of the 44 programs is 28.6. So we do a good job of getting our students at the end of their first year have at least accumulated a reasonable number of credits. Credit completion is something that is really something that we need to reflect on, and these are the percent of students who pass all courses attempted. So you have your 15 hours that credit hours that you're enrolled in the fall. Once you figure out what a credit hour is, you're enrolled in that. 61% of our students successfully complete all of their courses. So of the 15 credit hours that are 12 to 15, hopefully it's 15 because we want them completed in 4, only 61% successfully complete all of those courses, and that would be failure, withdrawal, and incomplete. The cohort average, we're above the cohort average, which is 57, and actually we improved this past year from 59, I think, to 61. But looking at those courses where we have some challenges and completion is a big part of that, which takes us into the next area, which is gateway course completion, gateway course success rate. So we identified, and every program identified 5 gateway courses. They're high enrollment introductory courses. And so we take a look at the percent of students with grades below a C in those courses. So each institution identified those courses. For us, it was Comp 1, Comp 2, Geoscience 110, Health and Human Performance 200, and MIS 101, EFI 101, INF 101 is what it is, INF 101. And so we took a look at those, and we were actually at 18.2% this year, down from 26.2. So before, and there were actually a couple interventions that were just serendipitous to this project, but have actually improved our success rates in those courses. The cohort average is about 23.3. So when we take a look at gateway courses, how many students are successfully navigating these high enrollment courses that are pathways to the next path? So one of the things we'll be looking at are a host of courses that have those high DU, WI rates, and thinking about what kind of pieces are associated with that. And again, we're not blaming faculty. We want to be reflective on a host of things that reflect that particular rate. We're best in class. We're best in show. So we were with our increase, the 7.9% put us at the top of the 44 institutions in the project, which is pretty cool. And now, hopefully, we had two courses in that group that really changed their profile. And we'll have conversations on campus about how those groups did that and how that was effective for them. And I think that will be a fun thing to focus on. And lastly is the traditional retention and persistence, which has been the number of students who return in the fall. Our 2-year average was 70.5. We'll be interested to see how we do this year, hopefully in the low 70s again, because I think we've done a lot of things over the years. And as mentioned, as a campus, we do care. We really do provide the kind of support for these students. And what I'm saying is maybe we can be reflective and find a couple of other ways to help pathway these students to success. To the next slide. Just very quickly, I wanted to just show you a little bit about the diversity of our enrollment, and because I do think it's kind of interesting. Our student body is changing, and this is the 2016 academic year enrollment profile from the Kansas Board of Regents data that we provide. So we're at just under 62% white, and you can see the Hispanic Latino at 6.7%, African American at 4.2%, et cetera. Our international student population at 22.7%. What's interesting here, and I think is important to note with this, is that our white Caucasian population has stayed pretty stable in that low 60s range. Our Hispanic Latino population has increased 95% in the last 5 years. Our African American population has increased about 48% in the last 5 years, as well as our Asian population. So you can see that our profile has continued to change. And kind of in my closing thoughts, as Dr. Tompkins had a closing thoughts slide, I said, I like that. I have a few closing thoughts myself. And just a few things to emphasize, thinking about the makeup of our students, our student body will continue to change. It has changed over the last 5 years. We know it will continue to change, and that's a positive thing. That makes this place special. It creates many, many challenges with that, but with this change, we know that we're going to have a more varied socioeconomic status that is the makeup of our incoming students. That's part of our natural service area. We know how the changes in our demographics in our service area. They'll be coming from a more varied level of academic preparation. I'm sure you all saw the same thing I did a couple of days ago on the news, where the state of Kansas has more teacher vacancies right now than they've ever had before, which means that changes the dynamic of the education interface that these students experience in their schools. So they're coming to us prepared differently in many cases, and you all know how that story goes. We're going to be more diverse. We're more likely to be first generation. Even though we're very heavily first generation now, we will probably be even more first generation. And with that, less mature in their understanding of higher education and how things work, which goes back to my original remarks. Make sure that we keep that perspective in mind where our students are coming from us. The cop-out is to complain about what we don't have. What our responsibility is to take a look at what can we do. And again, thinking of, I'm a glass half full sort of person, and I understand the challenges. I know but the challenges shouldn't come first. Let's take a look at what we need to do as far as our foundational approach to bringing these students to our campus, which is academic affairs, student affairs, fiscal affairs. All of the things come together so that these students have a chance to be to achieve success. Student success is everyone's business. Student success is everyone's business. That was part of the remarks earlier. And recruitment, retention, and persistence is everyone's business. And not everybody likes to hear that, and I'm guessing a few of you don't agree with me on that. But I do believe that recruitment, retention, and persistence is everyone's business. How you participate in that can be differentiated. Not everyone participates in the same way. And I don't think it's just a numbers thing. I love the numbers. Don't get me wrong. The College of Health and Behavioral Sciences can tell you I love looking at the numbers. But it's more than that. That when I think of recruitment, retention, and persistence, I'm thinking of what are we doing as part of our educationally enriching activities that recruit students to our campus, that retain students on our campus, and then get them to the finish line and persist to graduation. So that does include all of the things that we do. That does include undergraduate research, study abroad, learning communities, the service learning and experiential learning and all of those things. That's all part of that conversation. It doesn't just mean hand-holding. It means providing exceptional opportunities for these students, and then it may be interpersonal, but also I'm thinking more about structural and organizational decisions. And how do we train staff to better handle first year or first generation students, larger classrooms, that sort of thing. What can we do as an institution in that way? And my last thought is, echoing what Dr. Tompkins mentioned, every contact matters. Every contact matters. I will guarantee you the person who got the biggest round of applause today was Pam Driscoll. And you know why? Because everybody who has experienced Pam Driscoll realizes that she makes every contact matter. And every student who comes through there feels that. And that's just one example. That is what we're about, and we can't lose sight of that. And so we understand that every interaction is important, and we can't take the frustration perhaps of our last interaction into our next interaction. That's not fair. That's not fair to the next student you meet, or the next parent you meet, or the next class you teach. So I'm just asking you to consider that every contact matters. And we know we take that into account because we are going to entertain one of the largest freshman classes we've ever had this year. We're not sure what the final numbers are, but one of the largest freshman classes. That means you all have done a phenomenal job in welcoming students to our campus, recruiting them to our campus, selling your programs. Again, that's not just interpersonal, that's building great programs and great opportunities for these students. And that's amazing given the demographics of our natural service area. Our 72% retention rate this past year is phenomenal given the students that we bring in, the larger footprint that we have. So we're doing wonderful things, and just the reminder to make sure that you think through every contact you have and realize how important each and every one of us are in that. With that, I want to thank you for all you do. We have a wonderful history of serving our students. That will not change. I think we have great opportunities. It's going to be an exciting year. And as I said, I'm proud to be able to represent you in this role, and I look forward to working with you all as we move forward and help this institution and our students be successful. Thank you all. And with that concludes our event this morning. There are some refreshments out in the lobby. Please enjoy refreshments and conversations with your colleagues. Thank you for joining. Well, that got a little long, didn't it?